I think that Charles really made every effort to welcome Kate into the family. He said that they were close. He said that William was very, very lucky to have found Kate.
Imagine sitting at a private family dinner and hearing someone calmly suggest that the future Queen of Britain did not win the public's trust through character at all, but through imitation. Not by accident, not because the role forced comparisons, but by design. Smile by smile, gesture by gesture, look by look. And then imagine the woman being described is your wife, while the woman she is supposedly copying is your dead mother. That is why this story has gripped so many royal watchers. Because if this exchange happened anything like people claim, then it was never just one cruel remark. It was a collision between memory, loyalty, and the one comparison that has followed Catherine from the moment she entered royal life. And here is the detail that makes it even darker. The most uncomfortable part may not have been the insult itself. It may have been the silence that followed, because the real question hanging over the table was not simply, how could he say that? It was, has this been said before when William was not in the room? If you enjoy royal stories told with tension, context, and the details that really matter, take a second to like this video and subscribe to Crown Chronicles. It helps the channel more than you know, and it tells me you want more deep dives like this. The evening reportedly began on calm ground. Charles was talking about the future of the monarchy, the pressure now resting on the younger generation, and the importance of public trust. Catherine's name came up naturally, not in some exaggerated way, but in the most powerful way possible. She was described as steady, reliable, someone the public does not merely admire, but trusts. That word matters. Admiration can be built on image. Trust usually takes years. It suggests consistency. It suggests that people believe the person they see in public is not wildly different from the person behind closed doors. And according to this account, that was the exact point where the mood in the room began to shift. Tom Parker Bowles had reportedly been quiet for most of the conversation. Then he joined in. At first, his comments sounded almost agreeable. Catherine, he said, understood the role of Princess of Wales exceptionally well. True enough. She knows how to dress for the moment, how to handle pressure, how to speak carefully, how to make formal occasions feel human without breaking the rules around them. No one would argue with that. But then the tone changed. Instead of leaving it there, he reportedly started listing details. The understated clothes, the measured expressions, the warmth around children, the controlled emotion, the careful pauses. One by one, the observations kept coming. On their own, none of them sounded offensive. Together, they began to feel like evidence. The conversation no longer sounded like praise for Catherine's strengths. It sounded like he was building a case about how those strengths had been assembled. Then he brought up Diana, and that is when everything froze. According to the story, he suggested that Catherine's popularity rests partly on understanding the kind of princess people already know how to love. Britain remembers certain images, certain gestures, certain kinds of softness, certain kinds of vulnerability. And then came the line that reportedly changed the entire room. Catherine, he implied, had been very successful at becoming the kind of princess people wanted to remember. That is the sentence everything turns on. Because technically, it can be dressed up to sound harmless. You could pretend it means Catherine respects the legacy of the title. You could frame it as a comment about public memory. But in context, after the list of gestures, clothes, and emotional control, it lands much harder. It suggests not that Catherine inherited Diana's shadow, but that she studied it. Not that she lives with the comparison, but that she knows how to use it. And that is the difference between burden and accusation. Catherine has lived with Diana comparisons for years. Everyone has seen it. A coat becomes a headline. A hospital visit becomes a side-by-side photo. One moment with a child, one glance, one expression, and suddenly the public conversation is no longer about Catherine at all. It is about whether she reminds people of Diana. That pressure is unavoidable. Every princess of Wales enters the role standing next to a memory she did not create. So when someone suggests she is not trapped by that memory, but strategically benefiting from it, the meaning changes completely. Her warmth becomes performance. Her restraint becomes rehearsal. Her connection with people becomes calculation. And for William, that accusation would hit a line few people around him should ever touch. Because Diana is not an idea to him. She is not a public symbol or a collection of iconic photographs. She is his mother. Any suggestion that Catherine deliberately borrowed from Diana is not just commentary about royal image. It cuts straight into grief, loyalty, and the private boundaries William has spent years protecting. He knows exactly what it means to watch his mother turned into mythology. He also knows the woman he married when there are no cameras, no walkabouts, no staged moments, and no headlines waiting to be written. That private knowledge is what makes this story so explosive. To outsiders, Catherine's composure can look polished. To William, it may simply look like Catherine. He has seen the effort before. Public appearances. He has seen the pressure after them. He has watched her enter a family where every move could be measured against someone she never even met. And he has watched her carry that without turning it into bitterness. So if someone at the table suggested that her kindness was calculated and her popularity engineered, William was never going to hear that as clever analysis. He was going to hear it as an attack on her character. And the source of the remark made it worse. If a commentator on television says Catherine echoes Diana, it is noise. If a columnist writes it, it becomes another recycled royal opinion. But if the son of Queen Camilla says it at a family dinner, the meaning changes immediately. The question is no longer just what was said. It is why he felt comfortable saying it there. That is what gives the story its real sting, because it opens the door to something more unsettling. Was this an isolated remark, or was it part of a private view William had simply never heard spoken aloud? That is why the reported reaction matters so much. By most versions of the story, William did not explode in some dramatic outburst. Instead, the moment people keep focusing on is colder than that. A chair scraping back, a long silence, then a line delivered with controlled anger. "You do not speak about my wife like that." And that kind of response lands harder because it is measured. It tells everyone in the room that the issue is so clear, so serious, it does not even require a shouting match. Tom reportedly tried to retreat into safer language after that, turning the conversation towards symbolism, image, and the burden of royal history. But William's distinction appears to have been simple. This was not about branding. It was about motive. Not whether Catherine gets compared to Diana, but whether she should be accused of deliberately shaping herself out of Diana's memory. Those are not the same thing. And then there is Catherine's role in all this, which may be the most revealing part. According to the story, she did not lash out. She did not demand an apology. She did not turn the evening into a scene. She reportedly looked down, stayed composed, and let the silence do the work. Ironically, that may be the strongest answer to the accusation itself. Because if someone claims your grace is only performance, and you remain graceful in a room with no cameras and no audience, then their theory starts collapsing on its own. That is also where the re-hook in this story really sits. Because at this point, the issue is no longer just whether Tom insulted Catherine. The issue is whether Catherine, by doing almost nothing, proved him wrong in real time. And then comes the question that gives this whole story its lasting power. Was this really the first time he had spoken about her that way? That is the detail that turns an ugly dinner moment into something much bigger. An insult can be challenged. An apology can be offered. But hesitation is harder to explain away. If the question came up and no one could answer it cleanly, then the damage does not end with one sentence. It leaves behind suspicion. If he felt comfortable saying it once, had he thought it before? Had he heard it before? Had other people around the family quietly spoken about Catherine in the same terms when William was not there? That possibility is what makes the story linger. Because underneath the royal setting is a very human fear. What hurts more, criticism from outsiders, or the suspicion that people close to you may have been quietly questioning your sincerity all along? That is the emotional engine here. Not just one sharp remark, but the possibility that someone had mistaken Catherine's character for a performance. And in her case, that accusation is tied to one of the most emotionally loaded names in modern royal history. Diana remains beloved, mourned, idealized, and endlessly compared to the women who came after her. Anyone stepping into the Princess of Wales role would face that. But there is a world of difference between carrying those comparisons and being accused of exploiting them. One is unavoidable. The other is a moral judgment. That is why, if this account is even close to true, William's anger makes complete sense. He was not simply defending Catherine from a rude comment. He was defending two people at once. The wife he knows, and the mother whose memory he refuses to let become a weapon. And that may be the real reason this story refuses to disappear. Not because powerful families argue, not because royal tension is rare, but because what remained unresolved matters more than the insult itself. The apology, if there was one, would never be enough. The real shadow falls from the possibility that the remark did not begin at that table. It merely surfaced there. If that is true, then the coldest part of the evening was not the accusation. It was the silence that followed the question no one seemed ready to answer. And that silence says far more than any polished palace statement ever could. If you want more royal deep dives told with context, tension, and the details people usually miss, subscribe to Crown Chronicles and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. And if this story changed the way you see Catherine's position inside the family, tell me in the comments. Was this one reckless remark, or did it reveal something much bigger behind closed doors?